Welcome once again to Gene Ho. Gene, you're an early bird, aren't you? You work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, apparently.
Well, our days are long here at George Magazine. I would say most of the time, our Monday through Friday is easily a 12-hour day. We have the dispatch in the morning where we have to get these news articles out to our subscribers. And then at the end of the day, Monday through Friday, we do our show at 5 Eastern. So the day goes very, very long and very busy, but it's something that we got used to and we really like.
Yeah. I've got to let a secret out, Gene, because when we talked earlier on, I mean, you start your day with pizza, don't you? I mean, what is that about?
With me, I this is my thing. I only eat 2 times a day, but when I do eat, I do eat. So I eat before I get started, and then eat at the end of the night. So it's there's no rules when when it comes to what I'm eating at 7 a.m.
And nobody's told me how bad that is for you.
No, I'm actually enjoying myself and my eating. But yeah, it's you never know. It's 7 a.m. and I'm eating a full meal, and then don't eat again till later on.
Uh, Listen, let's fly over to Iran and the dreaded IR. Basically, this is the Gestapo. They reckon about just over 100,000 of them in a big country, but they are merciless and the population is frightened to death of them. And then you've got the ordinary troops, let's call them. And we've had information that a lot of them are now leaving the scene of warfare. That's not pleasing the authorities, of course, in Iran, but they're deserting in quite considerable numbers. Now, this has all been brought about by the blockade, as well as the original bombing, of course. And you cannot expect people to rise up without ammunition of the latest quantity and quality against an enemy that is very strong. But as things weaken, I suppose Donald Trump is wondering when is the right time, A, to supply the appropriate arms, and B, when to go in and let them try and complete the war to change the regime. But is he doing that, or is he hoping for a miracle?
Well, what ended up happening, as you know, Rodney, Donald Trump would like the support of the international coalition, those who claim to support the United States. To be honest, it was not as easy to get that. However, with this, if I could use the word, the blockade, things have changed now because there is a lot of pressure with Iran because that is their main source, or one of their main sources of income is that oil getting out. And when it's not getting out, you have that economic stranglehold that Donald Trump is putting there. It's affecting all countries. I know it's not as bad as in the United States. I believe a gallon, not a liter, but a gallon of gasoline is about $4. Not sure what it translates to the liters. But for the most part, it's not so bad here, but other countries are feeling the pain of it. And hopefully now with this blockade of the blockade, the plan is working, so to speak, where international pressure will side with the United States to make a resolution to this.
Yeah, I think so. When I say a miracle to happen, of course, we believe in miracles, but at the same time, you've got to be feet on ground, literally, and look at the situation of number one, 67% inflation already in Iran. That's going to make a bit of a difference.
Oh, absolutely. And the other problem with this is there's really unsure who's in power there. They have a parliament, they have people in the government there, but they also have the guard, the Revolutionary Guard, that is basically protecting the old regime, so to speak. So it's very difficult even to know who to negotiate with, what they're going to allow, and how this is going to happen. But one of the main things is the economic pressure that Donald Trump is putting on Iran right now. And there is there's a pause in any battles. There's a pause on any military action. And it's almost like this. I hate to make it so simple as a waiting game, but there has to be some economic pressure from the other countries to say, listen, we need to settle this because this is harming our country. And it's harming the United States. I mean, we're not the most comfortable with our gas prices, but for the most part, it's very sheltered compared to the rest of the world.
Indeed, it is. I mean, in the United Kingdom, you're getting 1 litre, that's all, for the price that you're quoting there, obviously dollars and pounds. So it is considerably, always has been a cheaper product in the States. Listen, moving on a little bit. I'm mentioning to you Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and Candace Owens, of course. They've gone to the dark side suddenly. Why?
Well, the important thing to remember, and this is where we stand with Donald Trump, it was Donald Trump himself who called them fake MAGA, basically pretending to support the movement, yet at the same time working against it. The telltale sign of all these people is if someone says, well, you know what, I'm just not going to vote. So basically, all the people that follow me, also you don't vote. And this is very critical because we have the midterm elections coming up in November. And Donald Trump is not on the ballot, but with the midterms, if the Republicans lose control of the House or the Senate, not so much the Senate, it looks pretty strong, but an outside chance of or a little bit more than an outside chance of the House. It makes it very difficult for Donald Trump to complete what he wants for the rest of his term. And so a lot is riding on that. At the end of the day, Rodney, what a person should look at is if the people that they are following suddenly switch and say, well, it's the midterms, I just can't vote Republican, I can't support the swamp or the system. Donald Trump has already taken control of the Republican Party. The people that he wants to endorse are the ones that is going to advance his agenda. And that's all there is to it. So you have people that pretend to be MAGA, some even now pretending to be MAGA. But at the end of the day, will these people ask people to go to the polls and vote Republican the way Donald Trump wants them to vote?
Yeah, it's been an unusual time, particularly for Tucker Carlson, of course. And he seems to have gone very anti-Israel, blaming them for everything.
Right. We have talked many times on our shows here at George Magazine. The understanding of what's going on in the Middle East, it's not what we were presented when I was growing up, that is Muslims versus Jews. It's not like that. You have Israel, and then you have Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. They are siding with the United States. And there is something called the Abraham Accords, which Saudi Arabia is working through to sign as well. Other Muslim countries have been. So what you have here is basically the Middle East versus the extremists of the Middle East. And I don't know how Tucker or anyone can support this regime in Iran. I really don't see it. We love the Iranian people. They're beautiful people. And back in the 70s, it was very prosperous before they took over and took American hostages back when Carter was the president of the United States.
Yeah, complex picture. It's like playing chess, isn't it? I tell you what, one of the things that did give Tucker at least some credit after he was criticized, his letter to Donald Trump was quite understanding and a sort of soft presentation of his side of the argument. Well, you've got a lot on your hands at the moment, said Tucker. Not willing to press it, I suppose.
Well, here's the bottom line with all of these people. The president has made it clear what is America first. The president has made it clear what is MAGA. And I was there in Rodney in 2015. I was there even before the Make America Great shirts started coming out. I was there before with the campaign, before it was a campaign, before the red hats. I was there in the founding of it. And this was Donald Trump, very similar to the Reagan-esque days of America First. And America First does not mean America only. It just means that, hey, we're going to do this based almost similar to what Reagan did, and it's peace through strength. And with all of these, it just makes you wonder, these people that are going against Trump, Uh, where are they getting their talking points from? Because it sounds awfully a lot like Iran and Russia.
Yeah, yeah. Sticking with podcasters and influencers, horrible word, but thinking of these people, especially on social media, of course, this side of the Atlantic, we cannot understand why Erica Kirk is being really penalised and has looked really in her position very vulnerable. What? Why are they having a go at her?
It's I don't know how it works on your side of the pond, but on the left we have very powerful tools that the left has used. Before Obama used Acorn very effectively. You have other groups that mobilize voters to vote Democrat. The Charlie Kirk, who I knew, I spoke with him as a fellow speaker at several events. Charlie Kirk had the forethought to make, so to speak, an acorn on the right hand side, but he did it in probably the hardest genre that you could possibly do. This is in the college campuses. So he is taking normally Democrat voters, if I could say, converting them to conservative voters and mobilizing them to vote by means of voter registration. So when he died, it was almost like a free for all, so to speak, to take over Turning Point USA. But Erica Kirk did a wonderful job. And quite frankly, she has the support of the vice president and the president. And so people don't like it that that entity remains with the Trump side of things. And so for that reason, what other point would there be to attack her? She's a widow. Her children are fatherless sons. Why else would you want to attack her except for she is that powerful? That organization is that powerful. If I could even say it, sorry for the comparison, it's the acorn of the right. It is what they are using to mobilize voters and win elections.
Yeah. Okay. In your position as editor-in-chief of George Magazine, and I know I get involved myself in this, and really it takes so much of my time, and that's diagnosing what is true and what is false. And it's called fact checking. Now, I'm spending most of my day doing fact checking. I don't know whether you find the same.
Listen. We were one of the things that we have done here at Georgia. We believe that we are returning to saneness with this. A lot of things that we could do is just merely go do the research online and just find out where the information is. A lot of times we go to .gov to see what the official position of the United States government is. But here's another thing that we've done. We have gotten basically picking up the phone and calling somebody. For example, we were following this arrest of a how can I say that, a supposed or alleged sexual predator. We knew the connection with one of the churches here where that person was there. It was all over the internet. You could see it everywhere. But it didn't take long to just actually pick up the phone and call those people involved, check if that person was actually arrested with public records. And it does not take that long. It just you have to be dedicated to at least fact check some of it. And that is what is missing in America. And that's why programs like ours, programs like yours, will start to gain strength again, because it's so easy to just put out anything without fact checking. It's to us, we just almost can't believe it. A lot of times it's as simple as just picking up the phone and speaking to someone. Is this true? We heard this. That's it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the short way of doing it. Wish we had the facility, but it's different UK style and different from where we are in Spain. The reason being is that you can identify, maybe you can over in the States, which are the left, middle, and
Right.
right magazines or newspapers. But looking at stateside, I find the left is far more persuasive, far more in numbers. I would even, and maybe I'm wrong in these figures, 85% seems to be really left wing in the States.
That one might seem that way, but let me explain how they do it. When you have leftist media, they're using the headlines of the stories to paint the picture. However, it's almost like you cannot say that they're lying because when you read the article, it's clarified. So the headlines where a person that is unaware is just reading it. But one of the things that they're doing is they're tying it in with the far right, the ones that Donald Trump has called fake MAGA or fake MAGA. The left media quotes what's going on. So like everybody's turning against Trump. Everyone, see, even this person, Tucker, this person, they're all leaving Donald Trump. And that's not the case. I live here, so I know the vast majority of Americans still support Donald Trump. The vast majority of Americans are conservative. Now, are there liberals? Absolutely, absolutely, they are, and it's. I won't say vast majority. It's pretty close, but it is not this painting of this picture by both the left media and the far right that has what Donald Trump has called fake media. They are not speaking for the collective conservative base here at all.
It seems to be a sophisticated form of clickbait.
It is. It is. We call it an operation. We call it a network of how they're doing it. But it's almost like they're working together and they all share the same talking points. That is why our things that we get out, our articles, our videos, they don't sound like anyone else because we're not getting talking points from somebody that goes with that. And that's how you're different too. And I think, generally speaking, Americans will, and other people like-minded, are starting to see this, that just because someone says they're on the right doesn't mean that they're on the right. They are, some of them are actually spewing propaganda.
There's a real palpable feeling both sides of the pond, especially maybe in America itself. The hate campaign, particularly left, is quite vicious and it's splitting society.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. And here's the thing. I spend a lot of time looking at the media on your side of the Atlantic. I see it a lot because it's my job to monitor both and see what people are saying. Once again, you can see the bias. You could clearly see the bias, and what we want in America. And I remember listening into Donald Trump speak about this personally. Donald Trump never said that he wanted everyone to, the media, this is, to always push his way. He wanted it to be fair. So you could say things and challenge him. I know behind the scenes, there were a couple of times that I stood up to question something with having to do with my realm, the photography, and it differed from the at the time the candidate Donald Trump. But he's willing to listen to all sides of it and be fair about it. But what we have in America, and I see it all the time on media on your side of things, you can see a clear bias, and that's what we're trying to bring out, to make everything as transparent as possible and to source our information.
Yeah. Gee, we finished with photography last occasion we spoke. We're going to do it again. And I've
Yes.
got a couple of questions for you. Who have been the most difficult type, or individualize it if you wish, of people to photograph? Objectionable.
Well, the interesting thing about it, a lot of people ask me that when it came to Donald Trump and the some of the politicians, they have actually been pretty easy to photograph. Many of them, including Donald Trump, is easy to get along with. Donald Trump was tough as a boss. He expected things done right and done fast, and then it was a timing factor. But most of the time, that when it came to this, and it's wonderful that I don't have to do this anymore. But when I was a photographer, taking pictures of children is probably the hardest thing that you could ever imagine. I could use psychology on adults to get them to smile and have a good time and so forth. But when it comes to children, that you have to figure each one of them out on their own temperament, and you're getting paid to make a little child a brat to look like the most happiest child, and it is not always easy. You're on their time frame.
Give them a pizza, Gene. That's the answer there.
Yes.
Finally, look, we thinking about the difference always. The sex war. What's the difference between men and women to photograph? Who's vain and who isn't vain?
You did it. You broke me down. Of course. I will tell you, females are much difficult to photograph. I wish it was the opposite, but generally speaking, the men are like, okay, do you think it looks good? You think it looks good? Fine, it looks good.
Let's go. That's great. Thanks, Gene, so much. We'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you so much. And I want to say that I appreciate your audience very much. And I could send the well wishes because the people on our side of it really like your program. And so we thank you very much on our side as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.